So let's talk about Eve a bit, because that's the next step. Now, we've got the EP9 out there doing all sorts of crazy stuff, even without the driver. But what does it mean to have a supercar that doesn't have a driver? What does it mean to have a performance car that drives itself? Is the passion still there? Is the point still there? Or is it just more of a thrill ride at that point?
I think, cars are one of those products, consumer products, that I would say are very aspirational consumer products for human beings around the world, no matter where you live. In the world, the first thing you want to buy with your paycheck is a car. And so this is human desire. I think cars we equate with mobility and freedom. So I believe that people will always enjoy that, right? So there's always going to be, space for performance cars, for racing. I think throughout history it's been there, it will continue to be there. Having said that, I think technology now allows us to do things, manufacture and design these machines, so to speak, to be very different, where there's a lot more digital technology. So as a young company, we are participating in all of this. We participated in Formula E almost from the very beginning. We launched a supercar. We now hold world records with that car. We launched a mass market vehicle for the China market, which is a 7-seater SUV with a swappable battery architecture. And in the US, we are working on fully autonomous vehicle. So you do need to participate in all these things in order to push the industry forward.
Jared, does the concept of an autonomous racing series interest you? We're going to see some robo-race demos tomorrow, I think. Does that intrigue you, or does the deletion of the human presence damper things a little bit?
I think in pure racing terms, that's a very new concept. Alejandro is obviously doing a fantastic job trying to launch that as a support series for Formula E. I kind of think that I'd probably miss discussions with the drivers too much to be involved in autonomous racing. I think it's a natural progression really in terms of electric vehicles to add an element of autonomy to that. It'll be very interesting to see how that grows and progresses. Working with drivers obviously presents us with an additional challenge, and in that competitive environment, they're clearly the ones that do make a difference. But I think that the technology and showcasing that technology is fantastic.
I personally am quite excited to see it myself. Sorry guys, but I think Robo Race is going to be a pretty cool show.
But I want to say actually the way we develop the autonomous technology is to try to emulate human drivers, right? So I think the machine actually learns from human behavior. And the way we are designing our vehicles for production, which we announced we will be in production by 2020, you can do both. You can drive the car and you can put it in an autonomous mode. And I think for a while the industry will continue that way, because if you're in a frustrated, high traffic commute situation where you're stuck in traffic, you're not really driving, but you're still stuck behind the wheel, then the car actually can take over and you can do other things. But on a weekend, in a beautiful, nice weather, not like this, but in California, nice weather, you want to drive the car and you enjoy the performance and the power of the car you can drive. And so it is, I don't necessarily see immediately it being one or the other. I think the both will coexist for a period of time.
Alejandro, you mentioned earlier that part of the genesis of Formula E was to show off new technology and really help things, push things forward. Do you want that to always be a core part of Formula E, or do you hope that at some point maybe the series evolves past that to the point where people are just talking about really great racing, really cool cars, and not really worried about the technology itself so much?
I think they go hand in hand, and I think always there will be a technology competition. Otherwise you peak and then you just basically lose a huge part of what gives sense to Formula E. And why would manufacturers be with us if they couldn't test new technology and use it on the road cars? And I will go to quite extremes on that. I mean, we're doing Robo Race. I believe Robo Race is a great technology showcase, but it's not a race. The race is with drivers, with humans. But you could think, and it's actually something that when it works, I'm pretty keen to introduce, the drivers just walk to the pit lane, and their cars meet them there driverlessly. And if some car crashes on the way, then it loses the race. But that would first of all give some relax to our drivers who are very stressed.
As the drivers, so that they...
But then integrate a technology that works especially well with electric cars, because driverless technology and electric cars is a much better combination than driverless technology and a combustion car. So all those, I think combining driverless, connected, and electric, the three alone are strong, but the three together are a lot stronger.
I think it's time to bring up the drivers, as we've been talking about them quite a bit, and maybe whether or not they have a future racing or not. Let's bring up Nelson Piquet Jr. and Oliver Turbo, because I want to hear a little bit about how things are going for the weekend and everything else. Pressure, come on up, guys. And we are going to be taking questions at the end of this, so if you have any questions, start to think about that, and I'll start throwing your way at the end. Thank you guys for joining us. So, Nelson, can I get your thoughts on Robo Race? I mean, are you excited by watching the car do its own thing?
Well, I am now actually that he gave this idea that we can just go to the starting grids, easy, and the car goes around. And I'm sure Jerry will be very nervous in this moment. I will be just easy because my responsibility only starts when I get inside the car, and his is until the car gets over there. So
that sounds fair.
I'm finding this idea really good at the moment.
And Oliver, how are things going this weekend? Are you worried about the weather for tomorrow and for Sunday?
No, I mean. First of all, very excited to be here in New York City for the Formula E Prix. You know, I think what Alejandro's achieved with the championships phenomenal to have a race here. So yeah, really looking forward to it. I think obviously today is a bit quite a lot of rain, but the weather forecast is looking pretty good for the next 2 days. So you know, I think we're going to have 2 exciting Formula E races.
And a little birdie told me that both of you have driven the EP9. Is that right? Can I get your impressions briefly? How does it feel to drive a car with a megawatt of power?
It's amazing. I think driving in a big track like Nordschleifer was a bit different because obviously it's a much bigger lap, so you couldn't drive it at 1 megawatt the whole time. But when we drove it, me and Oliver drove it at Ricard, which is a track we know already, and it's a track that has a lot of grip. It was a lot of fun. I mean, the amount it brakes, the amount of downforce it has, the amount it accelerates. I mean, we reached, what, 320 or something, 330 kilometers an hour.
That's pretty quick.
And it's, I mean, we lapped only about 4 seconds slower than the LMP2 car did previously over there. So it's nearly like a prototype LMP2 car, which is one of the fastest cars out there, apart from the LMP1. So it was a challenge. It was fun because I drove 1 lap and we stopped to charge, and then he drove 1 lap, and then I went again, and we both trying to beat each other's time for the whole day. It was pretty good.
And it was fastest, if I can ask?
That day I was fastest.
All right.
Not last night, he wasn't there.
Oh.
I was focusing something else, you know that,
And getting back to this weekend, what's it like to be racing on such a big stage? I mean, here in New York City, you run the biggest season in the world, run across the river from Manhattan. Does that add to the pressure at all, Oliver? Or is it ultimately just once you're in the car, the blinders are on, and everything's good?
You know, obviously, yeah, I mean, it's a really special race, and yeah, I think, you know, you want to have a good result in a track, you know, the first New York E-Prix, and, you know, it's the same as every weekend, you know, you always want to do your best, and, you know, for the team, and yes, kind of come in the same and try and prepare the same way, but certainly I think with this location, with the Manhattan background and the Statue of Liberty, it adds that extra special feel for the race.
Hopefully the clouds will clear up so you can actually see Manhattan and the Statue of Liberty. That'd be nice.